Wait. Are we live? Are we live? We are not live. How are we not live? Wait, or maybe we are. Oh, shoot, we are live. That is amazing. Okay. It is. Wait, there's how much stream delay is there? Um, okay, yeah, this is super delayed. In both good and bad way, I suppose. It's definitely not how I imagine how I would go live. Wow, it's actually super nerve-wracking, even though I have like pretty much basically zero viewers, I'm guessing, or maybe one. What was I going to say? It's completely on my train of thought. Okay, I can see why they have this streamer brand thing. Um, Shoot. Right, yeah. So I mean, I wish I had one of these days I will actually produce better content, but I figure that if I don't go live right now, then I probably would never would never actually start. So I figure that even though I have pretty much not as much to go off of, I might as well start. And like I wish I had like better content. Like maybe I could do like I don't know music or gaming stuff or whatever. One of these days I can probably do a proper like VTuber debut-ish thing that actually tells you guys what kind of content I will have, and you guys can look back at this stream with fondness, I guess, to see my I guess my pre-VTuber self and. And see how is it how was my first stream like I guess for my future viewers if I ever get any. um what was I going to say again? um right, yeah. So even though nothing is ready, but I figured I probably should go live, and the other reason is that well and produce terrible content because I actually have a presentation that I have to do at my lab tomorrow. So I figured that I might as well practice and record it because why the heck not? Because I'm probably going to be just as nervous tomorrow as I am today. So might as well do something real, right? And what else was I going to say? I mean, of course, it's like most terrible sort of content, because then there's like not too much interactiveness going on. I mean, given how much work I'm doing, I probably would still have a lot of work with me streams. But then when I'm doing that, there's usually at least I can chat while working and watch the chat and whatnot. But now I'm literally just talking at you guys. But I don't know, maybe you guys will find the kind of lab work I'm doing interesting. That I guess I will have you guys decide. But yeah, I mean, maybe enough of chatting was never enough chatting. I can always say, what do I want to? You know what? I will save the chatting for next time. Maybe when I actually do my real debut or whatever. And this time I would just actually do this. I will actually just get started with the presentation with a practice. So if you guys are somehow here for that, at least you guys get to see it. Assuming I actually get this OBS thing figured out. Oh wow, that's amazing. I guess I can, if I do this, do actually see a presentation? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Let me check. Besides the fact that I have like so much stream delay right now, so I don't know if you are actually looking at my entire. Oh, maybe I can just check like this. Wait, how do I? Well, I feel like I'm not nearly as what is called tech savvy as I thought I was. Oh, okay, yeah, you definitely cannot see this. I want to do this, that while everything is in shambles because I have no idea how to stream. Not surprising, right? Okay, yeah, sure, whatever. Okay, good. Presentation time. Assuming that you guys can actually see it, I assume you guys can. One of these days I'll figure out how to do this like 10 times better, 100 times better. I hope. Anyways, how do I do this? Full screen? How do I presentation mode? Excellent. Okay, good. I'm going to dox myself, but that is totally fine because because that is how scientists how scientific research goes, I guess. It is out there already, so it doesn't really matter. I mean, I would have much preferred to, be an actual VTuber and never let you guys see my face or see my real name and stuff like that. But seeing how much like work with me style streams that in programming, I know dev stream I'm probably gonna be doing. There's probably no way of avoiding doxing myself, so might as well just bite the bullet right now. um, it's out there anyways. Um, yeah, let's just get started. Okay. Oh, I need a stopwatch so I actually can time myself and see if I need to keep this presentation within like for like an hour or something like that. Okay, so I will be talking about this project I'm working on, verification of noise flooding countermeasure in homomorphic encryptions. So, I mean, of course, this is literally just a word soup kind of thing. That wait, is there a way for me to do this while monitoring the YouTube chat? I mean, there's probably no viewers right now, but just in case I actually get non-zero viewers, how do I monitor the chat? Is there a Oh, that's why people usually do two monitors, but I do not have two monitors, which is a small problem. Maybe I should just check back. Yeah, maybe I should just check back to check the chat every couple of slides. This is super scuffed. I hope future me will do a much better job than this. Okay, anyways, so this is literally just a word soup. So maybe one of my goals is to actually just tell you guys what this actually means. Okay, so maybe one building block at a time. So when I say verification, I mean interactive theorem proving, which I will quickly give a demo soonish. And then there's also this homomorphic encryption thing, which is a type of encryption I will also be talking about. And then there was this other noise flooding power of a picture, which is corresponds to this attack on these encryptions and how do you fix the attacks. Okay, good. So let's start with interactive theorem proving. So interactive theorem proving is a type of what they call formal verification. So basically, the idea is that I mean, if you don't know what formal verification is, that is no big deal either. But if you do, it just falls into this umbrella. The idea is that you want to transcribe proofs into a machine checkable format. I know, more word soup. It's taught in one of the classes here at the school I am at. And in fact, a lot of my audience, well, probably not a lot, but a couple of people in my audience have taken this class. So I'm just mentioning it. But again, I'm not assuming any knowledge here. So if you haven't taken the class here, it's whatever. And then in our group, I'm just going to dox more of our colleagues. But I mean, jokes on you because these are all public information as well. Such is the life of researchers. In fact, they probably would appreciate a shout out, assuming you guys end up liking me. Then more scientific fam or whatever. Okay, good. Anyways, quick demo on what this thing actually does. So what I will be showing off this thing called Rock Prover. It is a programming language. It's actually used to have it had a different name, but then nobody knows how to pronounce this, so they finally changed the name to this. Funny story. But anyways, the idea is that I was saying you basically have a where is my demo? Okay, there. Basically, you try to write down some mathematical. Up here is just like boilerplate. That part is not so important. But basically, the idea is how do I zoom in? Control plus maybe. Oh, excellent. This is completely amazing. Marvels of technology. I mean, okay, yeah, anyways. So there is this simple math fact that I can write down and try to prove for you using this programming language. The idea is that, well, I mean, for all three numbers, you have this is equal to that. That is maybe a simple-ish fact. And so you just tell it. Oh, by the way, maybe I should first explain what is this interface here. So this is my code, and this is kind of how the software is reading my proof. So when I write this, when I tell the software this, it's telling me what do I have to prove. So of course, it's telling me I have to prove I've written down no surprise here. And then I basically say that, okay, the first step is that I will just exchange multiplication because multiplication is what they call commutative. A times B is equal to B times A. So if I do this, then I can switch this over, and now I do a simultaneous addition, and now I've proven this fact. So that is basically how this kind of software works, is that you just write down proofs and then it checks your proof for you. And it works not only on math, but it also works on programs. So I can write down this program, which basically, well, I mean, this part is just saying that I have a fair coin, one half probability head and the other half probability tail. And then I can write down this program, which basically, just flips two fair coins and then take the end of, just take the logical end of two results. So you expect that this program would have a quarter probability of, returning true and 3/4 of returning false. So I can write down this program, and then I can, of course, get the output of the program by doing this, by writing this boilerplate. A few of you might have taken this kind of like compilers class and whatnot, and this is basically what this line of code is doing. Basically, the idea is that here, this is actually not computing anything at all. This object that I've written down, it is code. So basically, if you have 10 compilers, you should think of this as in terms of this is AST, it's a syntax tree. This is just syntax. And if not, then this is basically, you can just think of this as something that's almost as good as a string. At least it's much closer to a string than the actual distribution or anything like that. Basically, it's just a program. So you need to run the program to get the output, and that is what this line is doing. And then I'm claiming that the output is actually just this. I mean, maybe not so surprising because this two looks at least structurally similar. But this has a different type. This is actually a distribution now. And what I mean here is that, well, when you have a distribution, then of course you have a PDF, which is basically that, well, it's supported on Boolean, and you can get the probability on the support. So when I have a distribution type, what I mean is that it's literally a histogram like this. Okay, and now I need to say that these two are equal. I will probably spare you guys and spare myself of that, and just say that by unfolding this interpreter, or this, yeah, just more compiler lingo, but basically unfolding how you would run this program, you get this are equal. Oh, by the way, so programs, the difference between programs and distribution, at least one of the differences is that, well, as you can see, or maybe I should say explicitly, that, well, this is a global variable. So programs are allowed to reference global variables. And here I'm saying that I'm not referencing any, so the global variables might as well the initial memory is all zeros. But distribution cannot. So this is a pure distribution, but this is an actual program that can have what they call side effects. Basically can read and write global variables. But anyways, I will just say that this is correct without proof. Admit it means that just believe me. And then I'll be able to prove basically what I started out with. Basically that, well, that the probability of this returning true is a quarter. And then, I can prove this. This is a proof over here. I'm not going to go too deeply into how the proof is. The main thing I want you guys to get is basically just that, well, this thing has accepted my proof. So if we believe this tool, as in believe that this tool only accepts correct proofs, then you probably should believe that this has been proven. Up to the steps I skipped, which you can do this command to find out which step have been skipped and where cheating has occurred. For example, this I've cheated here, and then there are some other things that might or may not have been cheating. For example, this probably is also cheating, but that is how this kind of tool works. Let me see if I've gotten any comments. Probably not. I have not. And then I'm also doing good-ish on time. That is excellent in terms of the keeping a presentation within 1 hour. Okay, so basically this is just setting the stage because the rest of the presentation is going to be saying that, okay, I use interactive theorem proving to verify this or that theorem or fact or theory or whatever. Okay. So, but maybe the next question is, well, why do we care about interactive theorem proving? Well, there's this idealistic answer. Basically, we want to crystallize our knowledge, and what we mean here is that, well, this kind of proof script or this kind of scripts that I've written down is not only machine readable, but it should also be human readable in the sense that, well, if I hand you this program, hand you this file over here, well, I mean, one thing you can do is just run it and see that I've proven it. You believe this is true. But the other thing you can do, at least in this idealistic view, is that you should be able to kind of look through this proof to see like how have I proven this theorem, and if I do that, then ideally I should be able to impart part of my insight and understanding of this proof to you by handing you this file, handing you this proof script. And in this ideal picture, this would do better than maybe if I were to just write a paper in LaTeX or whatever. Okay, so the answer of why do we do interactive theorem proving? Well, there is maybe a surprisingly big overlap to the answer here and to the answer of, well, why do we write proof? Because well, basically, the idea is that if a proof is worth writing down in maybe LaTeX or in the paper, then chances are it might also be worth proving this way. But of course, that's an idealistic picture. Um, uh, but yeah, like why do we write proofs? Well, I mean, one reason socially is to prove something. For example, maybe you're in a situation where where you believe something's right and you feel maybe strong conviction, but nobody believes you. In that case, you might be able to use this kind of tool to so you become just a bit more convincing to some people, and or maybe you are in a situation where you stand to have quite a bit to gain if if what you claim is true. In that case, you probably also want to be convincing that what you claim is actually true, then you can prove it. I mean, there's a lot of ways to be convincing, and this is just one of them. So, but yeah, so you can use this kind of tool to somehow try to be more convincing. And there's also this engineering reason that you can basically test existing tool chains and contribute to a community. For example, there's this tool chain that basically allows you to prove anything you want about any existing C program. For example, that there's no memory box or whatever, or that your C program actually outputs a correct thing for whatever correct means here. So there's this tool chain that people know and love, and then there's also this people have also been basically uh, how should I say this? People have written basically have transcribed, maybe it's the right word, transcribed basically multiple math textbooks worth of material in this programming language, and publish them as libraries, and that is and they and people love that as a contribution to a community, because then those are libraries, so if we need any theorems from the math textbooks, we can just import those libraries and use them, so it doesn't leave strange holes in the proof like what I have here. Instead of this, I could probably just I mean, in certain cases you can grab stuff from libraries like what I have done here, but anyways, there is that. And then last reason is, of course, it's fun. At least to me, it is always fun to it's almost like a puzzle game, basically, to understand the proof enough to figure out what to write down for this software to accept my proof. That is fun in its own way. But anyways, that is probably enough for the interactive theorem proving part. So maybe the next part is the cryptography part of the presentation. I mean, maybe at this point I would usually take questions or whatever, but I don't think, yeah, I have no viewers. That's excellent. That is totally fine, because I mean, in the best case scenario, this is either for my future audience, or in the worst case scenario, I'm still getting some practice in, and hopefully I present this a bit better tomorrow. Yes, okay, good. there's also the funny future where I just decide I hate this and I'm going to privatize the stream, which is non-zero probability. But I mean, no, this is good. What is it called? Good experience, good history, and all of that, right? Anyways, the stopwatch is running, so I should continue. Okay, so cryptography there's a bunch of like funny words like security encryption, but why do we care, right? Um, there's of course a story that well, if we had a quantum computer, then all of the encryption we use today would be broken and stuff like this. But you've heard about this for a million times by now. At least my audience have. So maybe I should just say that actually, I mean, you guys have the at least my audience has their own project, non-crypto project we're working on, because we are actually a quantum computing lab and not a crypto lab, and so maybe it's okay if they don't care, because it's like if you don't know cryptography, well, I can still promise you that there is not going to be any hacker tomorrow that just steals all of your password tomorrow. I can promise you that's not going to happen, even if you don't know crypto. And if you actually know any cryptography, then, well, I mean, you might be able to open a blockchain startup company and make a lot of money. But it's just as equally likely that you open a blockchain company and lose a lot of money. So there's that. But yeah, I mean, cryptography is really an optional thing that you do it if you are interested, but if not, then it's also whatever. At least that's how I would put it. But then if in this entire semester you are going to spend maybe only one day or maybe even just this 1 hour on cryptography for this entire semester, then maybe I can still give you some takeaways that assuming that you guys are not just captive audience and you guys actually want some takeaway, then here's what I have to offer. Basically that there's this fully homomorphic encryption that if you are in computer science, then you might care about. And there's also this quantum resistant encryptions, which basically says that, well, basically allows you to add to this story up here. Um, Assuming you haven't heard about them yet, that is. Let me see. Actually, is the sound balance even okay? I feel like I'm starting. I probably should have checked earlier, but it would be very funny if you guys can barely hear me, right? Okay, yeah, I feel like the sound balance is okay-ish. Until I get complaints because I'm talking at like almost midnight. But yeah. It's the way it is. Okay, encryptions. Let's actually move on. um, okay, so what are encryptions? Um, I mean, there's this I guess the way to the intuition that you maybe I can just give an intuitive picture of what encryptions are, without going into way too much of the techniques and only cover what is actually absolutely necessary. So you have two algorithms. You have some input. You can encrypt it, and you get some encryption. Or what they call ciphertext, but whatever, and then you can decrypt it and get the original result back. And of course, there's something secret about this encryption and decryption, or at least definitely about decryption. So that if you have in some way that you can decrypt, but nobody else can, if this is your data. And I think this kind of vague notion of something being secret is good enough for now. Later, I will make it a lot more precise, but for now, you can just think of it as well. You have two algorithms, and then and there's something secret about this, so that nobody else can run it except for you. And then there's this homomorphic encryption, where this picture is kind of what people always love to draw when they talk about homomorphic encryptions. But basically, here is kind of maybe I can say what is actually going on here. Mm. So you have some data here, and you can run some function to get f of x, y is equal to f of x. So far, you can go this top route where there's no encryption or decryption, or you can encrypt it, and then you can run this encrypted version of the same function, and then you decrypt, and this diagram commutes in a way that, well, if you go a top route or a bottom route, you are supposed to get the same result. And maybe the impressive part about homomorphic encryption is that this f hat, this encrypted version of the function is public. So you actually, even to somebody who cannot encrypt or decrypt, they can still run this encrypted version of functions of the function. This will become clearer in the next slide. Basically, that is why people love to talk about cloud computing when they talk about homomorphic encryptions. Basically, the idea is that you encrypt your stuff, you send it to some server, and you also tell the server what kind of computation you want to do. The server cannot decrypt. That's the entire point. But the server you can still ask the server to do your computation for you, and then the server sends it back, and then you decrypt it. So you are able to use this server's computational resource without the server actually learning anything about your data. So that is why people like to use homomorphic encryption because of this picture. Okay, so there are definitely quite a few candidate applications. One is this Mako studies thing, which people like to talk about. Basically, the idea is that, well, let's say that you have maybe a few hospitals, and each hospital have their own patient data. And of course, patient data is private, is sensitive. They are not supposed to leave the hospital. But then let's say if you want to take some, global or nationwide statistic or whatever, then well you just cannot do it because the data cannot leave the hospital unless you encrypt it. And that's what people end up doing, is that, well, or at least one of the selling point of homomorphic encryption is that each hospital can encrypt their patient data and send it to some external server for processing and for taking those statistics, and then only the statistics outcome is decrypted, and the patient data themselves are just never decrypted. In that case, maybe things are fine because you just get maybe, like, I don't know, statistics like or you can train machine learning model like this. I probably should figure out how to present this part better, but in interest of time, let's attempt to move on so I'm not stuck here all night. There's also this second application. The funny thing is that I mean, at least in the school I'm at, in the institute I'm at, or lab or whatever, university, college, whatever, we basically use this Google Workspace. Basically, that means even though we have this like .umd.edu email, we basically have this Gmail interface, and that is basically yeah, by the way, this talk is quite nice. I can recommend it, and this is kind of this is taken from this talk. Basically, the idea is that some institutes, like maybe ours, I'm not sure if ours does it or not, but some institute will want to encrypt their internal data, like their emails, so Google actually do not get to see our emails. Basically, it's encrypted under the quote-unquote key of the basically, maybe I shouldn't use the word key or use jargon and just say that each maybe some organization want to encrypt their own email, but they still want to have this very nice interface, this very nice Gmail interface. In that case, you right now you would lose some nice features of Gmail like virus scanning, because if your email is encrypted, then they cannot do virus scanning for you unless there's this homomorphic encryption, which fits into a picture somewhere that lets you get some of those nice features back by being able to run those features over encryptions. Okay, and then there's also this other feature of in this browser that pretty much I think probably nobody uses here, but basically you use homomorphic encryption to check if your password is compromised in a way that so checking those passwords don't don't become one of the causes that your password become compromised. Yeah. Anyways, and then of course people love to talk about blockchain. So there's also a lot of homomorphic encryption applications in the blockchain. I mean, confidential transfers, keeping balance and amounts private. I don't want to go into what mixers are. Tokenization, that is another kind of worms. But then maybe I can just say that, well, if you guys have heard of the term NFT, well, the letter T stands for tokens. So this is maybe somewhat important. And then confidential voting, another kind of worms that I would just say it is a thing. Um, I mean, of course, I'm not. Voting is nice. I just don't know if you should do it using homomorphic encryption or blockchains. And uh, let's move on because I because I can go on and on about this forever and ever. But anyways, yeah, FHE timeline. Maybe one more thing before I go into a techniques. Because yeah, haven't it's like 20 minutes in and I haven't gone through a single line of math yet, and that is maybe not good pacing. But anyways, many decades ago, we asked, can we have FHEs? Can we have fully homomorphic encryptions? But then, of course, the actually takes a few decades to answer. The answer is yes. And then a couple years later, but okay, this is yes in the sense that well you can do it in polynomial time, but of course I'm not sure how much do we care or know about polynomial time, but basically if something's over n to the cubed, then it's then it's not very efficient, and you don't want to run it because it running anything takes forever, running this takes forever basically. And then there's this other different construction from a couple years later. That makes things a bit more efficient. Efficient in the sense that it's actually runnable on a normal computer on a normal server. I mean, it still takes forever, but this is usable somewhat. They call it efficient FHE, and then you ended up winning a Godot prize. But then now that is maybe a bit ironic in some sense because well they say it's efficient, but then a decade later now we still have an efficiency problem, and that is one of the main bottlenecks, one of the main reasons why you don't see FHUs everywhere today because it's not efficient enough. So I don't know about this being efficient, but anyways, yeah. Um, okay, and then there's this 5 years later, there's this idea of approximate FHE that is gaining quite a bit of popularity in the machine learning community. It turns out that basically this is a different way to encrypt, decrypt, and to run functions, a different way to structure FHEs basically. And it is a lot more efficient, but it comes with a price, is that your result is only approximate. For example, maybe you are working with like floating point numbers or whatever, and then it picks up or real numbers or whatever, and it picks up a small error every time you do encrypt, decrypt, or evaluation. And it turns out that this is so yeah, there's this result. There's this construction. I will actually talk about this in a bit. Um, but then and then there's an attack, and the attack gets patched out. So there's also that. Um, yeah. So with this timeline now, I can actually say the goal of my project. The goal of my project is to verify that this has fixed this, basically. Because this, at least this is an attack on this, and it's also attack on some other stuff that I will talk about later. Maybe terrible way of talk about this as well. Do I have viewers? I do not have viewers, and I do not have chat. That's excellent. Okay, so yes, how to encrypt. Now we can finally do some math. It's been simplified enough so that well, I mean, there's this very nice quote from more than a decade ago. Well, which means they've been simplified even more now. Good news. Okay, or I mean, depending on the part of the audience that we are talking about, maybe some of you will like math and some of you will not. But unfortunately, this is cryptography, so there's no avoiding doing math. Okay, so there's this lattice thing. Basically, the idea is that well, if you have linear algebra and you also have noise, then the situation becomes very hard. Let doing linear algebra with noise is very hard. And here's what I mean, or here's the normal, I guess, standard picture that people would give you when they talk about lattice. Basically, solving a linear system like this is very easy. In like basically first year undergrads can do this in the linear algebra class, or maybe even some high school students can do this. But then, of course, if you and what I mean is that if you have this plus some small amount of noise, maybe discrete Gaussian or whatever, then this becomes not so easy. And the reason is that, well, to solve this, basically the only way that we know is this very nice trick called Gaussian elimination, or this diagonalization thing. But then it turns out that if you try that trick here, then well, then you need to add a bunch of equations together, and then the errors just kind of piles up, and before you know it, you've picked up too many copies of this error, and now your entire thing looks like more like errors than actual data, and now you are getting nothing out of your systems of equation anymore. And it turns out that if uh, if diagonalization and Gaussian elimination doesn't work, then you're kind of out of tricks, or at least there's not I mean, there's like deceiving thing that people like to talk about. I don't know enough about them, but that's basically the idea that this is hard. Or rather, if you have a way to do this, then a lot of people will be very happy and a lot of other people will be very sad. But anyways, it's an open problem. Um, yeah, and crypto people like polynomials. So instead of working directly with this, basically what they do is to say that, okay, instead of matrices and vectors, we're just going to say everything is polynomial today. So this, well, is a polynomial. And now this two, I'm just multiplying two polynomials together instead. And this is also a polynomial where every coefficient is small. And all of this has bounded degree, meaning that, well, if you go over, let's say this 4RO degree n, and if you multiply two together, you get degree 2n, but then you take this modulo, so it kind of wraps back around, and everything is still kept to almost at most degree n. And then basically, but let me actually formalize what this is. So basically, here's the hard problem with learning with errors problem. Basically, the idea is that you pick this S, which is a secret solution that you are trying to solve for, and then you pick a random A, uh, random coefficients, and then you pick a random noise and you send this back. And it turns out that no matter how many times you do this, finding S is hard. Maybe I'm not sure if I should keep doing this. Hopefully I don't. What's the word? People might be going to sleep. So I'm not sure how thin or how thick the walls are at the place that I live. Um, Attempt to continue here. Maybe speak a bit softer. Yeah, maybe. Anyways, quickly go back to this. Attempt to wrap up. I don't know. Quickly go back to this, I guess. So the idea is basically that, well, if you are given this oracle, then this is as good as you can check this as good as being given this linear system, because you have coefficients, you have your right hand side, and you are trying to solve for this S. And then conjecture is that finding this is hard. But then the other, okay, so this is a learning with errors problem, but maybe I will make another extra change to this problem before we go into a proper cryptography. And basically, the idea is that not only solving for this is hard, actually, I want to make a stronger claim that, well, this thing actually looks, this thing looks as good as uniformly random. So basically, the idea is that I want to have this decisional version of learning with errors. Basically, this top half is the same as before, and the second half is saying that, okay, instead of actually generating this honestly, I'm just going to sample it randomly, and now you have this complete random looking thing. And the conjecture is that not only is solving as hard, even this even easier task of just telling between this and the uniform random thing is also hard. Oh, by the way, I probably should have said earlier, this is poor notation. This I mean polynomial, where each coefficient is discrete Gaussian. I'm omitting the parameter choices here, unlike the variance, or I mean the center is zero, but the variance I'm not telling you. It is yeah, I brushed it under the rug. But with proper choices of parameters, I mean, there's this finite field size as well in this. I'm not telling you any of this, but yeah, with proper parameter choices, this is hard. Okay, and then with this building block, we can finally start encrypting stuff. So the idea is that for encryption, I have this secret thing, and then I have this thing I'm actually trying to encrypt. So the idea is that I just do the same thing as before. So now this part looks uniformly random, and then I add my message to this thing that looks uniformly random. And then there is this. So this is the encryption algorithm. And at least intuitively, why this works is that, well, if you add something to what looks uniformly random, then the result still looks uniformly random. In fact, this is what the undergrads learn in maybe the first week of cryptography class, but I'm just giving you a crash course here. There's this idea called one-time pad. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of it or not. I guess you guys, at least my online viewers probably have not, because it is what it is. People in my lab might have people in my lab has a higher chance of having heard of this before, but I would still guess that maybe a lot of them have not because we are not cryptographers. But anyways, there's this one-time pad. Anyways, I'm just going to say this uniform random looking. If you don't know what one-time pad is, that's totally fine. Just sidetrack. And then for decryption, basically the idea is that, well, I mean, you can just look at this and guess how to decrypt. If you knew S, then what you do is you just unpack this, and then you mean this is just this, and you subtract this term out, and what you have left is M plus E, which is close to M, because E is this like small discrete Gaussian noise. So here you already have a approximate scheme, approximate encryption, decryption, approximate encryption, I should say. And of course, if you want the exact version, that is not too hard either, because you can just, store your message on the upper order bits, and then you do some rounding tricks so that you store your meaningful data only on the upper level, on the upper bits, on the more significant bits of M, and then it only affects the lower, the less significant bits of M, and then you can just kind of round or truncate it out. Then you get the exact encryption decryption as well from this. Okay, so this is how you encrypt, how you decrypt. So now what can we prove about this? How to formalize security? Well, the intuition is that you want to say that by looking at an encryption, you learn nothing. One way to say is that, well, any two encryption looks the same. Um, but then, of course, this cannot be just writing this down. This is actually not true because if the adversary is exponential time, then basically everything goes. Um, because if you allow exponential time adversary, they eventually learn your secret key just by solving linear systems. Learning with error is hard only for polynomial time adversaries. It's known that you can, just brute force search text exponential time, but you can brute force learning with errors, of course. I mean, it is NP. That thing is believed to be in NP. I mean, that thing is known to be NP. So there's that. Um, Anyways, the textbook answer of how to formalize this correctly is this idea called indistinguishability under plaintext level under chosen plaintext attacks. Basically, idea is to model this attack with experiment. But of course, this just more word soup and more jargon. So I should explain what is this. So basically, the idea is that you are going to think of how this encryption would be used, and you try to kind of distill and you kind of model, you kind of create a model, basically a adversarial. What's the right what's the right term? I should know this. A attacker model, yeah. So you want to create a meaningful attacker model. So this is kind of how it goes. You have an attacker here, and then you have this challenger, which basically kind of models the rest of the picture. So basically, challenger samples a random bit, which you will very soon see why. The adversary chooses two message, corresponds to the two message we have on the previous slide. The challenger, inputs one of them and send it back. And then the adversary gets to do this for however many times he wants. And then eventually he tries to guess this bit B. So this picture, hopefully you can kind of see why intuitively corresponds to what you have here, because here I'm trying to say any two encryption looks the same, and that is basically the challenger's encrypts a random one, and the adversary is trying to guess which one. So if encryption of M0 and encryption of M1 looks the same, then the adversary should not be able to guess this. So that is kind of the goal or the claim. So challenger checks if the adversary has guessed correctly. And of course, we want to say that, of course, then the quote unquote right, actually, maybe I'm brushing something under a rug, but the quote unquote the right definition, or I should just say a textbook definition, which is not always right, but a textbook definition is, which is not always right for reasons that you'll see later. But the textbook definition is that this is in CPA secure or secure under indistinguishable under is the word soup I had earlier. Is secure if for all efficient adversary the probability of the adversary guessing correctly is based cannot the adversary cannot do better than basically just random guessing plus this small number. So adversary can basically guess this with probability one half, which you have to allow one half because you can just guess randomly and have probability one half guessing correctly, but the adversary cannot do better in random guessing. That is kind of the what is trying to model. Okay, so recap. We have constructed an encryption scheme, and it can be proven to be what we call in CPA secure, even against quantum adversaries. Because guess what, the ring of error is hard for quantum for PQP machine as well, or at least that's what we love to believe. So yeah. Proof sketch by reduction. This is a kind of boilerplate proof that, well, crypto researchers maybe know and love, or maybe know and not love so much. But I'm just going to throw this out here. Well, I mean, it's just a typical reduction that you will see in maybe complexity theory class as well. Basically, you assume for sex contradiction that this if it were to be not secure, then well, there exists an attacker in the against the experiment that I had on the previous slide, and then you can use this attacker to build a algorithm for LW. Um, I'm happy to go through a proof in more detail. I mean, at least to members of my lab, I can just in person. But if any of you online viewers, future people who see this, watch this stream and watch this VOD and want to do some and want to learn more about this, I don't know. If you watch more of my stream, I'm sure I'll talk about this one of these days, or you can just like ask the AI or something. The proof is out there. Um, and now you can see this in the rock prover as well. If I'm not out of time, yeah, I'm still doing okay-ish on time. Basically, the idea is that, well, I mean, there's a lot of jargon over here that you don't really need to care about. The main thing I wanted to show is just that you have this you have this thing where the adversary chooses two messages and the challenger encrypts one of them and send it back. And that corresponds to, or maybe I should first say, yeah, they are oracles. So the adversary here is given two oracles instead of one. There's get keys and there's encrypt. Why is there get keys? That is because this thing is approximately homomorphic, but here we don't care. So this is a kind of jargon that you don't have to care for now. Let me first prove that the demonstrated the proof actually is accepted, that there's no syntax error. Okay, so you don't care about this oracle, you only care about the second one. So then this is basically this oracle over here, basically saying that okay, now you have two messages, and then well, okay, so the adversary gives you two messages, you unpack them, and then you say that well, if this is this, then you encrypt, then you choose this one, otherwise you choose the other one, and then you get your quote unquote encryption key, which is you just read this, basically this corresponds to S from the on the slides, and then you use it to encrypt, and then you get this encryption outcome, and you send this back to the adversary. This is what this means. So you can actually just write this oracle down in this prover software. And then now you have Oracle. What does it mean for the thing to be secure? Well, I have this like one half bound that I have on the slide, and that is basically what we have over here, more or less. Is saying that well, I mean this advantage I will have to unfold it, but basically this one half lives somewhere in here, basically saying that the adversary. This is a property of b star is equal to b. I will just ask you guys to believe me that this actually encodes that. One way to see is just you just unfold this. Actually, maybe I'm able to do it right now. Let me check if this is readable at all. Probably right. Assuming I don't have a typo. Advantage. Yeah, the probability of this true, and then probability of this being well, I mean this is B, so probability of, is that the same as, no, this is a probability of guessing B correctly. Oh, this is the equivalent way of stating what I have on the board, but it's not exactly the same. That is excellent. Let's forget about that and just is equivalent somehow. Yeah. Um, I would just say, believe me, the math can be worked out somehow. Um, Tomorrow I'll do something different. Anyways, homomorphic evaluation, which is maybe the other fun part. So how do you do homomorphic evaluation? Well, it turns out that you just need to figure out how to do addition and multiplication, because these two are what they call universal, meaning if you can do oh, I have more than one view. That's surprising. Okay, if you can do both addition and multiplication, then you can do pretty much any. You can encode any Boolean circuit in addition and multiplication. So you can at least you can do everything efficiently in the sense polynomial time. Okay, so addition is actually easy because what they like to say decryption is linear. What we mean here is that, well, it turns out that if you remember the construction from before, I can probably also attempt to write it on the board here. Basically, the idea is that you have this, right? Is what is b minus as. So this is linear, and because of that, basically it satisfies this property. So long story short, adding two encryptions together is the same as adding their messages together. So doing addition over encryption is very easy. For multiplication, it's a bit harder, so let's figure this out together by just working backwards. So this is kind of what I mean. Let's say you have let's say you have stuff being encrypted, then you know that, so you can unpack it in this form, and then you also know that this, if you evaluate this, you get this. Even if you don't know S, you know there exists some secret, so let secret S, so let this is true. Okay, so with let's say you want to multiply two of these together, then you just unfold this, then you get this. So far so good because this is this not PEMDAS, right? What do I say? Like first oh, foil maybe. Yeah, this high school level thing, this foil thing, basically you just multiply. People know how to multiply polynomials, I think. I mean, if not, then that is fine as well. If you're just here because you somehow, I mean, hopefully I'll become the type of streamer which will actually be able to roll people in even if they don't know math, because this is not a, yeah, this is maybe the goal of, I don't know, my future streams and stuff like that. I There will be plenty of like work with me and dev streams, but then I will, well, first of all, I will not have them at this late at night because I'm just bothering people. But then the other things I will kind of, there will be more chatting and stuff like that. There will not be, just math because that is not fun. So today's hopefully going to be a exception because I will need to, because I'm preparing for this thing tomorrow, this presentation I have to give tomorrow. But normally there should just be me working on math stuff while chatting about non-math stuff. Hopefully. Anyways, there's this. And then you can rewrite this. You can group this, so this becomes this, and then this. We don't know how to deal with this yet, so we'll leave this here. So far, so good. I hope. And then what we do here is that, okay, since we don't fully know how to do with this, then we just give this a symbol. Let this evaluation key be equal to this. And by defining this mysterious looking quantity, now I can say this is actually equal to this. Because encrypt and decrypt cancel each other's out, so I can just replace s squared with decrypt of encrypt of s squared. And then, because decryption is linear, I can absorb the decryption here, and then now I just have encryption. So now I have this. Okay, so far so good. Basically, M1, M2 is approximately equal to decrypt of this entire thing. So you know, to multiply two encryptions together, you just have to evaluate this. And that is basically exactly what's going on here. Basically, if you had this, if the server had this, and this, I mean, it doesn't fall from the sky, the client would have to prepare this and send to a server as well, and that I claim is secure because it's encrypted. So the client prepares this, send to a server, and then the server has these three pieces of information, and the server has to do multiplication. Then what he does is basically to just evaluate this expression from here. And this works because we've just shown that if you were to decrypt this, then you get m1 times m2 as expected. So this is how you do multiplication, do an encrypted version of multiplication. Okay. So now to recap, we have a fully homomorphic encryption because fully means it's universal, because if you can do multiplication and you can do addition, then you can do any computation. So now you have FFT, and then it's in CPA secure, but it's not very efficient. Reason is that the error grows too quickly. Here I'm skipping a couple of steps, but here's a rough idea of the problem. Basically, you have this. If you just multiply this out, then you get, well, the correct thing plus this huge error term, where now you have this the error basically grows as a you know every time you, how should I say it? I mean, there's also this other thing I haven't thought through yet because this just pause this then, because this thing doesn't look too small. I'm hoping that everything that has at least one error term is small, but then it's actually true. If this is an integer, then this is just, oh, so I need to multiply by this. I think that's why this why it's called. Yeah, might be why they have this like big multiplicative factor here that I'm just brushing under a rock here. Maybe that's why they had this, which will kind of hopefully squash this out. Otherwise, this doesn't even look correct. Let me think. Um, it seems a bit off, doesn't it? Even if I had this, wouldn't it be? It's a bit strange though. Let me think. Unless I no, right? I mean, I can. Oh, but I can just cut the thing off somewhere and then. Does it make sense? If I renormalize, then I pick up some funny. Not renormalize. If I shift the decimal point, then I can ensure this is small. But if I wanted to shift the decimal point, then to make it so this is not an integer, then what, right? Then when you multiply, you will have to do some funny. Um, yeah, I'm going to brush this under a rock and just say that okay, now this error grows quickly because but no, that makes no sense as well, right? Because I want this to be integers. So every time you do anything, the error just gets squared, and now you have a. What is the error bound? Maybe I should let's question I should ask myself, right? Um, there's no avoiding this. It's literally that every time you do a multiplication, you just get. I mean, this is a message, so you have the error literally grows by this and that and that. So this three is literally this. So the error actually grows so fast. Wow, this encryption is maybe not is maybe not nearly as, I mean, maybe it's not so surprising, right? Uh, sure, whatever, the error grows very fast. Specifically, there's this term which basically says every time you do multiplication, the error gets squared. So if your circuit is, if you do so many multiplications, this thing grows exponentially because it gets squared every step. So the end result is exponential. Assuming my math is right, I feel like blackboard blindness here. So let's say you have this is yeah, of course it's exponential because when you have this, then that is equal to x to the 2n, and then now you have this is exponential. Okay, yeah. So your error grows exponentially, and before you know it, you're just computing an error and you lost your message. So that is maybe is this running? It is. Okay, good. So you need to suppress errors, but it's out of scope for today. So, but I'm saying there is maybe some ways to do it, and there you have homomorphic encryptions, and then everyone lives happily ever after. That and uses homomorphic encryptions, everything is encrypted. Well, at least that is the end of the first I guess the first episode, the first act, or the first whatever you want to say of the story. And the second part comes once I, how should I say it? The second part the full second part comes once I actually finish a project and give another talk on this. But maybe I can give you a spoiler, give you some preview on what happens next, um, which is, this attack that we can finally get to. Basically, the idea is that, well, turns out everything I have been telling you is maybe what people have lived up to a certain point, and then they realize their entire life is a lie, and they're very sad. Okay, so the idea is that, well, this is well, not entire life of what they've been working on in the past few years is all a lie, and they are very sad. Um, but that is how crypto goes, unfortunately. So they basically say, okay, now this result that you get after decryption, actually there is a dependency on a secret that's snuck in somewhere. So it turns out that the noise term here actually is secret dependent. So maybe I can quickly say where it got missed, because it's hidden somewhere in this approximate equal sign. So so we just brush under a rug, but it turns out you cannot. So your end result actually is secret dependent, and that is bad because now we are saying that okay, you can do homomorphic evaluation, you can decrypt, but you cannot use the result after you decrypt, because the moment you try to use the result, you leak the secret key. So they consider this kind of setting. The client talks to a server, and you do this stuff, and then the client basically leaks everything to the attacker, which is actually a reasonable notion because, well, this 4 is actually all there in the CPA game. Um, because I mean this X is is chosen by the attacker in the CPA game, and even if not, there's a lot of settings where the attacker knows what is being encrypted. For example, if it's HTML, I mean, yeah, if it's HTML, HTTP traffic or whatever, there's this very nice thing called HTTP header. So, um, yeah, the attacker knows the message in a lot of cases. Without going too much into like HTTP headers and specific formats and stuff like that. Uh, Attacker has some prior distribution that is also off track. Anyways, this 4 is all known by the attacker. This 2 is known because it is digital traffic. The attacker is known to, we always model it so attacker can eavesdrop, so he knows this. But then now, this is not captured, but today the attacker also knows this, which is a problem, because now the attacker knows this, then he can do some more math, and he learns the secret S. And that is bad because let's say tomorrow the client, uses the same secret S to encrypt something else, then the attacker learns it, then the attacker can decrypt, and that is bad. Okay, so the OM attack. These two people. This is a used to be a student at UC San Diego, I believe, and his advisor. I mean, this guy is now at Google. After coming up with this very notorious attack that people know and love. um, yeah. Anyways, so he graduated, went to Google, and living a life right now, I suppose. um, Anyways, they implemented this attack. In the sense that this attack is not just theoretical, but they can run it against popular libraries. And when I say popular libraries, I mean this. So yeah, they have an attack against that. Uh, there you have it. The attack was quickly patched out, or at least a known attack was quickly patched out. But then the provable secure fix was published over a year later. And then that's not the end of the story because, well, it turns out that the attack's been generalized for other ways to encrypt stuff as well, and there's just kind of no end to this story. um, Maybe I can quickly say what's the patch. The patch is, well, I mean, maybe the idea is maybe not so not so intuitive, I might say. Basically, the idea is that okay, let's say you have a problem with this, because this is decryption result. This carries secret information. I just add more noise and maybe it goes away. Maybe I can quickly say what is the math here. The math is basically that let's say you have this I know I'm out of time here, but whatever. The math is, let's say this is what this is this, and this is bad. This is the bad part of the thing. My delta and S looks indistinguishable, but that's fine because today there's no delta. And what you want to do here is that you just add extra thing, and now it is known that this is approximately equal to this plus only this. If uh if this is at least e squared, I mean if this is at least e squared. So if you add a big enough noise, this is why it's called noise flooding. Basically, if you add a big enough noise, then it drowns out the other noise. Okay, so basically that's the idea. You do this. The hard part is that how wide this has to be, because this is a I mean this works, but this is not ideal because you already have a lot of noise and now you are adding a lot more. Um, but yeah, the idea is that now you have this new attacker model, which because it's true that the earlier schemes in CPA, it's just that in CPA doesn't actually capture how homomorphic encryption is used, so you need a different game. This is maybe a ad hoc way of defining it, but maybe this will have to do for now, until because I'm out of time. But maybe later I can give a better one, give a better if you guys are interested, both online and in person. Online as in the stream viewers or VOD viewers, and I mean the other thing is that the VOD viewers would actually watch me do the actual project. I so you guys will see more than you want on this if you guys actually want to learn about it. Uh, anyways, and people in my lab, of course, they just ask me. Okay, good. And then instead of just sending back this encryption, so maybe I should say that I should start with the in-CPA game, which is that you just send back this. But then today, instead of that, what you want to do here is that you allow the adversary to send this as well, and then you say that this is encryption of xb, where b is defined as before, and then now you do y is a is this, and then you also do this is decrypt of this, and then you send this entire thing back. Send back the entire trace. So this, that, and that. So this is in CPA plus. This is a generalization of in CPA. This is an ad hoc way of defining it. There is a slightly better way of defining this, and this is also in here, which I would love to talk about if I have a bit more time. I mean, again, the people online would hear about this sooner or later, probably on the sooner side. People in my lab, maybe they'll be interested to hear, maybe they won't. But basically, you can write down this game uh, in a much nicer way than this. But anyway, so you have in CPA plus game, and then there's this thing you can prove saying that if this is in CPA secure, then S prime, which is the one that's been noise flooded, is in CPA plus secure. Improving parameter here is tricky, but at least you have a proof. People have tried to improve, have tried to get better parameters than this improving a scene if you don't want a square error here. Then people have been trying some other things, but that's hard. So looking forward, I mean, for this current project, we've got proof engineering to do. Since we've got code to write. Um, People are interested to work together, both in my lab and I somehow doubt that I will get people online who's capable, willing, and able to help me with this project. But if you are, please contact me. I'll be so happy. It's too too much programming to do. Um, yeah. So this the analysis around discrete Gaussian is incompatible with the existing. I don't want to go into what programming logic is, but basically it's just saying that I'm using some library and the library doesn't work. And then there's also this issue where if you want to do any discrete Gaussian analysis, assume you want to bound any, you have this very nice I mean, even if you just want to prove this and nothing else, or if you want to do some other things with discrete Gaussians, pretend this is discrete, you want to cut it off here and say this is small. Well, tough luck, because the moment you want to say anything like that, you need to do a Fourier transform. I mean, this is just this, right? So you want to do this is what? This is some funny convolution, right? This has been minus, I think. And then e to the something like this, I think. Probably not exactly this, but you get the point. Long story short, before you do anything you want to do with this, the first step is to this, and then you realize that you are not good at math, or at least I figured. Nobody's good at math, right? Yeah, this is what you get. And then there's also this Howard acceleration idea that we are thinking about, and you also need to verify that this the construction I gave you today, plus a lot of bells and whistles, this very nice paper, is in CPA, because this the theorem I had with noise flooding is only a converse in CPA thing to an in CPA plus thing, but if the underlying thing is not even in CPA, then of course you have nothing. And then there's also this other project idea. There's just so many nice project ideas and not so much time. So to wrap up, it's okay if you don't care about crypto, but if you do, contact me. I mean, people online just contact me. People in my lab, there's this Slack channel they can join and say hi. And that is the presentation. Good. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning into the stream and all that. Surprisingly close to an hour. I was worried I would be like super over time. Get 2 views. I'm guessing one of them is I don't know who's the other views. Maybe one of my friends, I guess. What else was I going to say? I mean, one of these days I will be streaming some more entertaining things. I don't know, gaming, music as in piano. I play a bit of piano. I mean, you can probably see from the videos that I've uploaded very many years ago. I've gotten better since then, thankfully. Drawing, because I want to. One of these days, I will have to be a VTuber. Well, not have to, for reasons that I will tell you guys about. One of these days, I want to be a VTuber, which means I will probably have to do some brainstorming and some concept art before I inevitably ask somebody else to maybe polish the drawing for me, and also do a live 2D rigging, which I have no idea how to do. But still, yeah, drawing. I mean, VTuber debut, of course. DIC gaming. If not, then of course there's the love to have some gaming streams and chatting streams, work with me streams. What else? I guess the rest is really depending on what you guys like, right? Um, welcome stream ideas. Besides that, I think should I just say call it a day here, or is there anything else that I want to say? Um, I mean, it's been really fun today. Actually, it's so nice to be live. I guess I don't know. I should just change the scene, right? Maybe just this. Yeah, VTuber. Yeah. Okay. So what was I going to say? Yeah, it's been super nice to start, and hopefully one of these days I will. I mean, you guys probably see me soon. I will continue and hopefully get better at this. And oh my hair is such a mess. This is one of the reasons why I think it would be good to be a VTuber. Oops. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in, and I will try to remember what I want to say and say next time. Is there anything else I want to say? If not, then I should just wrap it up for the day, and you guys should wish me luck in my presentation tomorrow and all of that, and I will see you guys soon and next time and all of that. Um, yeah, don't want to leave yet, but I probably should. Alright, good night, guys.